Family-run and small businesses power 80% of the American economy. In the post-lockdown world, more and more people are looking to build a backup plan to provide a sense of security should the world become less stable than in the past. Building a home-based business, whether a small side project or the birth of a fully future working business, is one way people have taken that security into their own hands. In this video, we're going to take a look at 16 cottage industry businesses that you can start from your own home, either in your kitchen, a craft room, or in your own garage space. Now, some of these things require a small investment or the time that it takes to learn a skill, while other of these things require very little money and you can just jump right in after a few hours of learning. Either way, any of these ideas are 100% attainable if one finds the interest. Number 1. Starting right from the top, our number 1 business is soap making. Talk about supplying a product that will always be needed. It's very easy to start a soap making business these days. Soap making is a cross between kitchen science and artistic creativity. Once you get your style down and you work on developing a brand, you're basically uncopyable. It takes as little as a weekend to learn the basics at a beginner level in soap making, and the supplies that you need are easily accessible online and at the grocery store. Now, if you're in a populated area like the Boston Farmers Market or outside New York City, you can pull in $300 to $500 at a market table on a Sunday afternoon. I am located in Connecticut, and in the summers, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., the average sales at any of my soap making tables are about $400. Now, once you have your soap making skills under your belt, you can expand your product line and you can make lotions, creams, and bath bombs. But do make sure to check with your local ordinances, because selling soap is much easier than the other cosmetics when it comes to the required permits. Artisan soap making is the heart of the Cottage DIY Crafters website. And there's even a book that will teach you everything that you need to learn to make soap, including all of the safety information that you need before you get started. This download is completely free, and if you want to see if soap making fits your personality, your art style, or anything that you are interested in doing, you can download that book at the link below. You do not need to become a member of the website to access the free book and the video tutorials that go with it, so be sure to check that out. Number 2, candle making. This artisan craft naturally follows soap making because the fragrances used to make soap and candles are often exactly the same, and you can match candles to bath soap to create gift packages. Of course, if you want to open a candle store, you certainly can do that as a standalone business all on its own. Handmade crafts like candles are some of the fastest growing small businesses in the country. According to the National Candle Association, candle sales in the U.S. are estimated at $3.2 billion per year. Statistics say that 7 out of 10 households regularly buy candles, and just like in soap making, you need very few supplies, space, and the barrier to entry is not expensive. Number 3, crochet. If you've been living under a quilt for the last 3 years, then you've missed out on the business opportunity that handmade crochet items can bring as an extra side income into your home. If you're the type who likes to sit still quietly, there's still a business that you can start and get the most out of your return. Crochet doesn't mean that you have to make a dozen rectangle scarves all day long, although you certainly could if you wanted to. From blankets to handmade children's toys, there's an appreciation for the work and love that goes into a unique item when shoppers are in the market for a hand-crocheted item. Currently on Etsy, top crochet crafters make as much as $150,000 a year. Granted, these artists have become very skilled and have been doing this for a very long time, but if you think you might want to see if you have what it takes to learn a skill that could generate a side hustle, you can learn the basics in a set of YouTube tutorials with this beginner's crochet playlist in the link below. All free, making your startup all the more easy. Number 4. Of course, we're going to squeeze knitting in here. Knitting is the bigger sister of the crochet world. It's a bit more advanced, but we can't leave it out because if you get this tradition under your belt, you can start your own handmade Swedish socks business. And boy, these things bring in a few more dollars than anything you can find at Walmart. Not the easiest thing to knit, but once you learn, that just means there's less competition. Number 5, quilting. Don't overlook the obvious. Out of all the suggestions on this list, the term handmade quilts gets the most searches on Google. There are a lot of people who want to learn how to make a handmade quilt, and for those who don't have the time, they're looking for someone to sell them one. You may see some of the most complicated talent in historical pieces that you see online, but the basics of quilting can be learned in just a few days. And everything after that is just practice, 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 which you get every time you make a new quilt to sell. Don't forget that once you start creating your own masterpieces, you can even sell your patterns over and over again. Number 6, tatting. Tatting is an art of handmade lace making that began to die away just after industry was able to start mass producing textiles and lace. But recently, there have been an emergence in professional handcraft lace makers who use tatting as their method of craftsmanship. It's easy to learn, and patterns are relatively self-explanatory. Tatted pieces can adorn clothes, children's dress, and linens. And moreover, if you check the Etsy listings for tatted pieces, you'll find that some people make a nice income. Number 7, jewelry making. Now this may seem like something you do in middle school with your girlfriends, but on closer look, there's a wide variety of styles and skill involved in jewelry making that you might not have thought of. One of my favorite jewelry boutiques is located on Block Island, a day vacation spot in Rhode Island where one store sells all handmade glass jewelry. The pieces are made from Italian glass and they sell for hundreds. You might be surprised at how much information there is out there to get started in making your own jewelry and bringing it out to your own open air market as a specialized artisan. Number 8, rug making. Did you know that before cheap things were so easy to get, people wanted to get the most out of their fabrics and materials before they wanted to throw them away? Back then, just about anything could be braided into a rug, and as people got good at it, they started making pretty fantastic rugs. Not only can you learn this early American folk art, but there are people who sell their handmade rugs on Etsy for as much as $1,500, and they do pretty well. Now, we've recently come across an artist that goes by the name of Green at Heart Rugs, who showcases her work on TikTok and sells what she makes on Etsy. Now, this is not sponsored in any way. We just admired her work and thought we would share it with you to show you that yes, you could do this if you wanted to. Number 9, gardening. What? That's not a business. Anyone can throw a handful of seeds over the back deck. Sure, but did you think that you can harvest your seeds once they turn into strawberries and onions and sell them at the local farmer's market? Look, food prices aren't going down anytime soon. So if you're lucky enough to have a little outdoor space where you live, you could literally grow a patch of peppers for the price of one pepper. Pick your peppers and join a farmer's market, and before you know it, Bob's your uncle. You've got a few dollars to buy some blueberries and double your profit next time. Number 10, leather work. Okay, if this snags your interest, then you might not be one of those people who want the fastest way to turn a dollar, but you want to really develop a worthwhile skill and make a quality craft. The barrier to entry for leather work is a little higher than picking up a crochet hook, but there isn't a tremendous amount of competition out there. The good news is you can find endless information online about making handcraft leather projects. And once you start, it's just a matter of focus and practice. Handcrafted leather items bring in a premium price. Some artisans easily pull a 6-digit income from their work. This is more of a full-time skill than it is a side hustle. Number 11, woodwork is right up there with leather work. A very serious skill that can be learned over a week and refined over a lifetime. If you have the space to start in your garage, you can turn a woodworking business into a $500,000 a year income, as some people do online today. Starting a side business need not turn into a full carpentry career. You can also make handmade children's wooden toys and sell those on craft platforms like Etsy. This takes up a very little space, and you can reach the whole world with your store. Number 12, food preserving. If you didn't grow up in a rural area, you may not know how to can and pickle your farm fresh goods, but it doesn't take a lot to learn. In some states, you do not need a permit to sell any goods that are meant to sit on your pantry shelf or on the countertop, and you can do this at your local farmer's market. This brings a valuable product to many people who don't have the time to can their green beans. You can even turn food preservation into an artisan craft. Have you ever had eggs pickled in buffalo sauce? Such a fun snack and so simple to make. Decorate your jars with garlic, spices, bay leaves, and oregano, and your customers will start coming back. Number 13, tea making. Did you know that you can start your own tea company? Buying tea wholesale means that you can have your custom blends made, or you can buy bulk tea and make your own blends. Design your packaging and come up with rustic names that describe charming places in your village, and voila, you've designed your own brand. You could probably get this organized and planned in one night if you really wanted to. Number 14, candy making. Did someone say cake pops? Why not take your favorite sweet treats and package them for birthdays, weddings, and gender reveal parties? Candies and snacks will bring return customers once they discover their favorite custom flavor. As with any food, make sure you do check your local ordinances before getting into the candy business, but once you're legal to start cooking, becoming a chocolatier sells very well at the local markets. Number 15, Nightcrawlers. Maybe the absolute easiest business if you live in the right part of the country. Selling nightcrawlers to local fishermen is as easy as keeping a compost box outside and keeping your earthworms snug inside. Once a colony is established, they reproduce in their own boxes. Fishermen pay anywhere from $6 to $10 a dozen for nice, fat, yummy fish bait. The hardest part of the job is putting the sign out front and collecting money when somebody stops by to buy your bait. Number 16, beekeeping. If you want a challenge a bit higher than selling earthworms, beekeeping makes a lot more money by providing both products and services. Not only can you harvest both honey and wax from your friendly bee house, but you can even provide farmers and orchards with pollination services. Allowing farmers to rent your bee houses is as easy as dropping off a hive in a field and coming back and picking it up at the end of the season. A farmer pays for the service that provides him with a nicely pollinated crop, and you still keep the honey to sell at the markets. You might think beekeeping is only for those who live in the country, but in New York City, people build beehives on the roofs of city buildings. Some domestic bees are docile, friendly, and live with humans quite well. In fact, I once lived next door to a large hive that I thought was a doghouse for 2 years before I met the man who sold me the honey for the next several years. The bees would leave their hive, fly straight up about 15 feet before taking off into their harvest direction. To make it even easier, you can order bees through the mail, and you can have them delivered by UPS, just like your ant farm that you got when you were 7. Now, it does take skill to learn how to look after and care for your bees, but let's face it, bees offer much more in return than a tank of fish, and the side income is a bonus. I hope you enjoyed this list of 16 cottage DIY businesses that you could start from your home. And if you're interested in learning more about these or discussing other ideas of businesses that you can start on your homestead property or in any sort of self-sufficient way, then come on and visit us at cottagediy.com and explore the community.